Here, I am holding my locks. I started my lock journey in 2017 when I left corporate America. And I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2015. But 2017 is when I started my lock journey. And my hair was very long. And my hair, I feel, defined me. But when I started my lock journey, it was for a space that I was in, leaving my job, taking the bet on me. And boy, did I go for a ride. I went all the way up from starting doing wholesaling, then doing renovations, then building my own development company. We started building houses from the ground up, modern build, jump right into multi-million dollar deals. I mean, we were building houses for the celebrities and the who's who in Atlanta. And when I tell you the journey has been, but I got really high and then I lost one of my projects. It took the life out of me and it affected everything. It affected everything. And when I got to my lowest, it really took me a second to really discover, who am I? What things did I have in place to protect me? Because I started out as an entrepreneur on this journey and I just went for it. And I trusted myself, I trusted my gut, and I did everything that I knew how and what I believed. So when failure hit me, I was like, wait, what is happening? And I realized I didn't know how to lose. I knew how to win, but I didn't know how to lose. And so much of what I've learned on this journey of having bounced back and rebounded, and I get to know now what's on the other side. And now I'm focused on heirs. Are you ready for the throne? Because I realize that even in all the work that I've been doing, nothing compared to who I was being and what I was becoming. And that is what told me it was time for a new journey. It was time for a new space. Because to get what you're not getting, you have to be someone you're not being. And that's what I was like. It's so much of your hair is an expression of who you are. And now with my hair, I know to grow back because I'm like, all of this came out of my head and was made from my body. And I know to grow back, but it's part of the new journey that I get to be on. Now, helping entrepreneurs and visionaries expand their vision, understand how to take the obstacles and the fear out of whatever it is you're doing. That's why I created Ignition Zones. It's so that you can come and get ignited. Find that spark so you start delivering like never before. Don't just take me and my word. Literally, I've worked with dozens of entrepreneurs and thousands of students that have been inspired by the work that we've done. And all that I've been able to do is ask them the right question to spark them on a different journey. Because even with my lock journey, one of the things that I realize as I see my lock sisters and brothers is who else's hair defies gravity? Who else? Because to be a principal anywhere has to be a principal everywhere. Yet our hair stands straight up. There's something different about us. And that is what I help leaders to find. I help them to embrace their inner spark, their inner being, and that vision that they had. Because when you grow up, I know for me, when I was in ninth grade, I literally used to dream about being on TV. And this was so crazy that I'm in TV now. And I know everybody's like, duh, you've been in TV all your life. But at the time, I didn't know. But it started with a dream. And literally in ninth grade, I remember messaging NBC like, I want to work at your station, the local WXIA, the local NBC affiliate in Atlanta. And I remember reaching out to them and nobody ever responded back. Nobody. No one ever responded. And I was disheartened. But I'm in ninth grade, right? But I joined this other program called Black Data Processing Associates. I don't even think they still have Atlanta chapter for the students like they were then, and competing and all of the things that we were doing. And I realized that, wait, I actually like the spokesperson of it. I like being in the front representing for others. And I realized that then that I like to represent the unheard. I like to speak to those that don't often have a voice. And that's what I found even in entrepreneurship. There are so many people that are looking at dreams and visions and things that they want to do. And they're like, well, we don't know how to get started. We don't know what to do. And I'm just like, well, just do it. They're saying we're trying. And I'm like, well, what have you done towards the trying? And they're just like, well, I don't know what I've done towards the try. And I'm like, if you can't tell me now, I know we done talked on the phone and I know we done watched Netflix series because I don't watch Beauty and Black. Yeah, I know. Okay, we're not even going to discuss that. That's a whole, I'm going to do a reaction video. That's a whole nother thing. But literally, Beauty and Black you watch all these other things, right? But how much time have you spent really envisioning yourself where you desire to be? It doesn't just fall in your lap. Like I said, when I was in ninth grade, I was envisioning from seeing my dad, who is a pastor, seeing him in front of crowds every week, helping to change their life. I knew growing up that I wanted to make a difference. And I was like, you know, what can amplify even his voice even greater is media. And so that's where you had a little girl in me envisioning myself on stages talking to people. That's why every time I get on a stage, I don't take it for granted because I realized that it was the girl in me in ninth grade and even beyond that who realized that I had a message and I wanted to get further with people and I wanted to take that message to as many people as I can. So understanding real estate, I understood the messaging because I understood that I'm sure every one of you can make a better burger, even for the vegans. You can make a better bean burger than what they offer at, Burger King or McDonald's even. You can make a better burger than they can, but they paired their burger making skills with real estate. And now you have a company that's seen all across the globe. So now how do we take our visions, our dreams, empower them and amplify them with real estate? And it could be digital real estate too. It don't have to all just be physical brick and mortar. You're in a world of not only AI and computers and everything else, but there is a whole e-commerce space as well. But whatever it is, own the space that you are in and amplify it with whatever your interest is as an entrepreneur. Because one of the things that I've had to learn, and that's where I talk about leaving from being an entrepreneur and now growing into a business owner, someone who is responsible, someone that is protected, someone that knows how to set up business right. Every company should have a CEO, CFO, CMO. I've learned that now, being a responsible business owner. And that's one of the things that I'm walking into, the newness of what I get to become. I get to have a new vision and redefine because I know the vision that got me here. And now I get to redefine what that looks like. Amplifying the vision in entrepreneurs is what helps to scale and take life to a way where you're executing like you never thought before. Because that's really all it is removing the fear. I was working with my stylist earlier today and literally he was like, I'm going to cut your hair. And I was like, no, don't. And he saw how nervous I was. So he said, I'm going to put the scissors in your hands and I won't cut until you cut the first lock. And I took a deep breath. And once I took it in, I realized the journey that started this and the pivot that is now happening. It's time. It's time to step into who I know that I have become. Because it's one thing, the journey of becoming, but then at some point you become. And I made a commitment on the journey to becoming a bold, powerful, and courageous leader. And I made the commitment to step up and do it even greater, to step up and be even more audacious. Because I realized that in going back over my story, that we create the moment. We don't wait for the opportunity to come across. We create the moment. And the more moments that you create, the more it has a chance for the programs that you desire to take off and to grow and to flourish. Like just when I know I said I got removed from NBC in ninth grade, but by the time I got to the 11th grade, I found out about this program called the Emma Bowen Foundation. And the Emma Bowen Foundation had this amazing program that they just grew to 5 years. And literally, I came across, and it was for people in 11th grade to last all the way till you graduated from college. Now, I love Emma Bowen, and it's been amazing. That's how I was able to work at Fox and ultimately got to CBS through the IRTS. But all of these programs, all of these new moments, all these opportunities that ultimately landed me in media corporations at 17 years old, it was amazing. And the confidence that it gave me. But now looking back, the moments were created. If I would have taken that rejection that I got in the ninth grade and told myself no, I never would have been open for the new moment that opened when I was at a different space. That rejection then allowed me to enjoy BDPA, enjoy learning about computers, which now comes in handy in the world of AI. And that I've been doing competitions in tech for years. So that closed door actually shifted me into a new opportunity. And now that only intensifies what I'm able to do in this new digital age because I had the backbone of the Black Data Processing Associates. I had Fox and CBS that helped to teach me the business acumen because even while I was in media, I got into sales. In sales, I was doing negotiations with major companies and corporations to get billboard exposure, billboard and transit media exposure all around the globe. This is what I was doing with CBS for years. So imagine being able to attribute that and now take that into real estate. I had no fear doing big deals because I've been doing big deals thanks to programs that I've been a part of for years. I'd seen people in 20, 30, 40 years into their journey and giving me advice of what they wish they would have known because I'm around the right people. So they up here frustrated with a lot of their decisions. And now they get to tell me so that I get to get it right. And now that's where I love to create programs. That's why I use my platform to talk about what I've learned in real estate and how to bring it all back to reach and connect with people. That's why I created Ignition Zones so that we could all come together and really get to know what it is our passion is. Because a lot of times I'll have people bring up their visions or dreams. If you get in a room with me and I got the mic, that's probably where I'm going to go. Somewhere your vision and dream. Because I know that ninth grader inside of me is still having a party. And that's why I'm like, okay, it's time to graduate. So that's why we did the haircut. But literally, it's so many untapped dreams and visions that people had and life start lifing. And so you were just like, well, let me go for the steady. But so much opens in the uncertainty. Now, I know everybody can't have the uncertainty, and that's why you want to be responsible. That's why I create programs to literally teach literacy financially, as well as understanding how to set up a business. You want to know the basics so that you can be protected, unlike I was. When I lost that project, it affected everything because I wasn't set up properly. As good as I thought I wasn't set up the way I needed to be. I wasn't protected the way I needed to be. But you better believe your girl been studying. I went to class. I took notes. I got a business coach and I did the things to get me in a better direction because now as a business owner, we get to make impact with purpose, with structure. And that's the programs that we're bringing and we're rolling out by partnering with community leaders, by partnering with others. We're really creating an expansive experience. And that's what I'm so glad about the people that are tapped in. Because one of the things that I've learned is if you want to be anything like those families that we hear about, the Rockefeller family, the Carnegie family, do you know what that is that we see when you got 152 heirs that are still living off the Carnegie family? When you have hundreds of people that are still living off the work of the Rockefellers, do you know what that is? It's a trust. It's a trust. Yes, I have a business and I have an LLC, but my family has a trust. And in that trust, that's where you hold your assets. Now, what are the assets, right? Assets is what you get paper to, what you hold the paper. When you purchase your car, when you finish paying it off or it's paid off, they give you a certificate. When you purchase your house, when you finish paying it off, you get a deed. When you purchase jewelry and you purchase it from a real dealer, they'll give you a certificate that go with it. If you purchase a gold bar, they give you a certificate that goes with it. Right? When you purchase art, you hear people arguing over their masters. What do you think the masters are? The masters are your certificate, the things that you hold. Art It comes with a certificate. You get stocks and bonds. You get shares. These are certificates. What did I just list out? The 5 appreciating assets that you can grow and expand your territory to help provide dividends that pays into the trust. What is that? I'm going to list them out. You got real estate, you get certificates. You got stocks and bonds, you get shares, you get certificates. You got art, you get certificates. You own your masters. You own the things, or you get a certificate that comes with the art. You got jewelry, you get a certificate. You got insurance, you get a certificate. With all of these 5 things, these are things that you can put inside of your trust that will then allow you economic value to then increase not only your net worth, your family, and things like that. And you continue to grow and expand in those 5 things. This is how you create the infrastructure. Understand the cadence of how often you talk with your family, and those are part of the trust. Then understand as far as the infrastructure of how you can withdraw the funds, how the operations go, and then what all you will invest in, how the funds work. Because the thing about the insurance policy is the insurance has living benefits. The insurance is just not for when you're gone and for your heirs. You want to have that in place. But literally, having insurance, you can borrow against the property. Borrow against the policy. No one in your insurance company, once you have a policy that's funded, is going to ask you for your credit score when you're looking to start a new venture for someone that is in your family. Because one of the things too is once you pass away, you can make the beneficiary the trust. And so that the money goes into the pot of the trust. And the thing about the trust is protected. It's protected from things that you deal with financially when you're not in a trust. And there's no head. Yes, you have an operating agreement and you know what you want to do, but really there's no head. There's no figurine. You have an agreement, an operating agreement of how we're going to operate this trust, but it should be made in succession plans where you understand. You know what I realized? I realized that when Queen Elizabeth passed away a couple of years ago, they knew exactly what was next. You knew who was next in line. Even Prince Harry wrote a book about the spare because they already knew that if something happened to Prince William, you got Prince Harry. And if something happened to him, you got this person. They have succession planning. I went back and I was like, how long have they been doing that? Do you know I had to go back and I went to this person preceded this person. This person preceded this. Yes, I went through all these pages on Wikipedia. Don't ask me how. But I literally, this person preceded this person. And I had to go back to 550 AD. 550 AD. They've been doing this literally. How is the British family so powerful? They have had the momentum of centuries. Literally, centuries. We're seeing the momentum of a family that had a plan, that had a system, that had no head, but it had infrastructure, it had instructions. It had, how do we vote people in? How do we vote people out? What do we do if this is the case? If you know you're going through this with your family, then what do we do here? Because when you have these regulations and rules in place and you understand the 5 assets that feed into the trust, notice I didn't name any liabilities. Because some people want to put a car. Now, if the trust owns vehicles, that's something different. But as far as the assets, I didn't name liabilities. If you currently live in your home and you do not have a deed or a paper and it's not paid off, it is a liability if you are the one paying your mortgage. Now, if you live in a multifamily or if you're doing another strategy to make your home income producing, then that's totally different. Now, that's a whole different story. But you want to make sure that only focused on assets and not liabilities. Things that cost you. Things that cost you money are considered liabilities. Things that make you money and appreciate are considered assets. So the more assets that you're able to pull it all in together, literally, this is what you do. Because the reason that, I consider wealth not what you have in your bank account. I consider wealth the community and the village around you that has access to financial resources. That's how literally I've been able to be successful in a lot of the things that we've been able to do because we have the infrastructure set up, especially now, a lot tighter than what we even had before. But you have the infrastructure set up. You understand how to partner in ways we can engage, and then you understand what it looks like on the other side. Literally displaying this to people all around the globe is how I've been able to not only help other visionary leaders expand their portfolio, but expand what they know is possible. They literally expand what they know is possible. I found a science to it, and you got to find the big vision. It was the ninth grader in me that got the vision of seeing me on platforms and seeing me on stages that got that to come to fruition. Now it's the 30-something-year-old in me that sees the vision of what 50-year-old Jessica looks like, celebrating my 50th birthday in Dubai. I already see it. I already envision it. And I already know what it looks like. And I've written it out time and time again, what the legacy gets to look like. And that's all I'm doing. I'm pouring in, putting up, and we're creating these moments where I get to share the legacy of what we've built and the wealth and the infrastructure of what we have. And now talking to others, you get to build the same. Literally. Once you build these things up financially and getting your financial house in order, that's we have resources at every level that can help you at any point of this process. Literally. That's why it's about creating this community that brings all of these resources together under one roof. So that we have one vision, one band, one sound. We understand what we're looking to do. And it's so that we can live out our dreams. It's so many people that I meet that are in their 40s and in their 50s, and they want to just dream again like they were a child. They want to go back to those moments and really make it happen. So join me today at ignitionzones.com so that you can find out more of how you too can get ready for the throne. Heirs, are you ready for the throne? Let's go.